The command deck of the Eminence shimmered in blue light, a cathedral of metal and arrogance. Hundreds of alien officers stood in perfect formation beneath the vaulted hollow ceiling. Through the vast window, the world below burned, a death world finally pacified. Storms churned over continents stripped to bone. The Empire of Aurelis had crushed another rebellion. Grand Strategist Varkel Thulin stood at the center, claws clasped behind his back, watching the final bombardments fade. His scaled face reflected no satisfaction, only calculation. One more infection cleansed, he murmured. Behind him, the sound of armored boots interrupted the silence. A smaller, limping figure entered, a gray-scaled veteran wrapped in an old combat cloak. Ryan Taro, once a soldier of the old wars, carried the kind of scars that came from surviving too long. His single eye flicked to the containment pod at the center of the deck, frosted glass, faintly pulsing. Varkel's tone hardened. "Report, Captain?" Ryan hesitated. "Sir, that pod was found beneath the Terran ruins. The markings match pre-Exodus human military code. High Command believes it contains a cryopreserved specimen." A murmur passed through the bridge. A human, alive? That species was supposed to be extinct for 6 millennia. Varkel's frills twitched with amusement. A relic. The last of the vermin. How poetic. Ryan's voice lowered. "Strategist, we should not open it." The deck stilled. Even the hum of the reactor seemed to fade. Varkel turned slowly, disbelief spreading across his face. "You're advising the Supreme Command to ignore a direct artifact recovery order?" Ryan's gaze remained locked on the pod. "Not advising, sir. Begging. Don't touch it. Don't even speak her name." Laughter rippled through the command staff. Varkel's tone turned mocking. "Name? Has superstition corroded what's left of your reason?" Ryan stepped closer, his voice rough with memory. "I fought them, strategist. I saw what they did. You think the Empire won that war? No. They let us win, because they wanted to see what happened when we tried to rule the Ashes." Varkel dismissed him with a flick of his claw. "You fear ghosts." Ryan's single eye burned. "Ghosts don't kill fleets, sir. Humans do. And one of them, one they called Baba Yaga, made entire systems vanish without firing a shot." A flicker passed through the lights, a faint dip in the power grid. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Varkel ignored it. "Open the pod." The order rippled across the deck. Engineers approached, their tendrils glowing as they interfaced with the containment field. Frost began to melt. Condensation beaded and rolled down the reinforced glass, revealing a figure inside, female, mid-30s by Terran standard. Her skin was pale as snow, streaked with faint cybernetic lines under the surface. Her armor bore the faded emblem of a black wolf's head over crossed spears. Her eyes were closed, her face serene, almost peaceful. Ryan's voice broke into a whisper. "Don't kill her. Don't touch her. Just send it into the sun." Varkel's gaze lingered on the pod, then turned cold. "Enough." He gestured. The glass split with a hiss. Mist poured across the deck like breath from the underworld. The cryoseel released a low hum that resonated in the bones. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then a pulse spread through the ship, faint, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. The sensors flickered. Displays turned to static. Power conduits flared and dimmed. "Malfunction," an officer stammered, tapping his console. Varkel snapped. "Stabilize power flow." Ryan backed away. "She's awake." Inside the pod, her fingers twitched once. A single drop of thawed water slid from her hairline and hit the metal with a sound that echoed too loud. Her eyes opened, gray, depthless, focused. For the first time in his long career, Varkel felt something he could not quantify. The sensation was small but absolute, the understanding of being prey. The woman sat up slowly. No chains held her, no weapons were visible. Yet every soldier on deck raised their blasters. She looked around, studying the room as if taking inventory. Her gaze met Ryan's first. Recognition flickered there, an acknowledgement, not of an enemy, but of someone who remembered the same fire. Varkel forced authority into his tone. You are aboard the Imperial flagship, Eminence. You will answer my questions. She tilted her head slightly. Eminence. Her voice was soft, but the word carried strange resonance. The ship lights dimmed another fraction. You named your flagship after pride. Fitting. The bridge AI spoke suddenly, flat, mechanical, yet it used a human language none of the aliens recognized. Terran Protocol 11 detected. Secure channel engaged. Shut that down. Varkel barked. The AI ignored him. On every display, human text scrolled, Operation Grave, which initializing. A low alarm began to pulse. Crew members scrambled. The woman remained seated, calm, watching them with the patience of a teacher observing slow students. Varkel stepped forward, fury rising. You are under Imperial authority. You will cease whatever interference you've engaged. Her eyes shifted to him. Authority? She said. You think you have it because you killed what you didn't understand. Ryan whispered, almost reverent. It's her. The strategist's claws tightened around his command rod. Identify yourself. The woman's lips curved slightly, the ghost of a smile. You already did. The deck shuddered. A sound like distant thunder rolled through the ship. Somewhere far below, something heavy detached from its moorings. Systems reported nothing, no source, no malfunction, just silence followed by static whispers. Varkel tried to speak, but the comm systems crackled alive with thousands of voices, human voices. They spoke in overlapping tones, like echoes from a graveyard of signals. Ryan sank to his knees. It's starting again. Lights across the command deck flickered red. One of the technicians screamed, their console melting into liquid metal that poured across the floor like mercury. The woman closed her eyes. You shouldn't have opened the door. Varkel shouted. Contain her! Guards moved, weapons primed. But as they stepped closer, the magnetic locks on their rifles disengaged, metal falling apart in their hands. The air vibrated with invisible static. Ilara Voss, Baba Yaga, rose. No dramatics, no rage. She simply stood, and every sensor around her shorted out. Her presence bent the rules that kept the ship sane. Ryan stared in horrified awe. What are you going to do? Her answer was almost kind. Finish the war. The ship trembled again, deeper this time, as if the void itself inhaled. Varkel stumbled back toward his command seat, fighting to stabilize systems. Shut her down! Fire containment! Nothing responded. The displays filled with human script, initiating seed resonance. All hostiles marked. Baba Yaga turned toward the viewport. Her gaze fell on the burning death world below. You thought you buried us. But the ground remembers. With that, the main lights died. Only the pale glow of emergency lamps remained. In the flicker, Varkel saw her silhouette dissolve into the darkness, gone between one breath and the next. Ryan whispered the words like an old prayer. May the stars forgive us. The ship's AI spoke once more, voice almost human now. Phase 1 complete. Then the Eminence screamed. Silence filled the Eminence after the scream, an unnatural stillness that made every sound sharper. The emergency lights pulsed dimly, bathing the corridors in blood-colored glow. The command crew moved like shadows, whispering orders no one dared say aloud. Grand Strategist Varkel stood before the darkened bridge window, his claws flexing against the rail. The world below still burned, yet now the fire seemed distant, irrelevant. The greater blaze had begun inside his ship. Status, he demanded. No one answered. The comm channels hissed static. Screens flickered between alien script and fragments of old Terran code. The ship's AI had gone silent, replaced by faint human whispers moving through the intercom, children's laughter, lullabies, phrases no one could translate. Engineering reports loss of gravity control on Deck 7, an officer finally said, her voice trembling. Dozens missing. No life signs detected. Varkel turned slowly. Missing? They vanished, strategist. Their trackers still transmit, but there's nothing there. Ryan Taro stood apart from the others, his gaze locked on the empty containment platform where the pod had been. "She's not killing them," he said quietly. "She's erasing them." Varkel snarled. "Explain." Ryan's one eye glinted under the emergency light. "Humans built weapons that think. The Baba Yaga wasn't just a soldier, she was a conductor. She could sync her mind with war machines, command systems directly. If she's linked to your ship, every deck is her battlefield. Then cut her out," Varkel ordered. "She's not in the system's strategist," Ryan said. "She is the system now." A tremor rippled through the deck. Doors sealed themselves. The air grew heavier, charged with static. From somewhere deep below, a rhythmic pounding began, metal on metal, slow and deliberate. Varkel barked. "Send security to the cryo bay." "They already went," the officer whispered. "They're not answering." Ryan drew a long breath. "You don't need to send more." The bridge lights surged suddenly, white blinding. For 3 seconds everything worked again. Then a face appeared on every screen. It wasn't the woman's. It was a human child, pale, smiling, eyes empty. Its voice filled the bridge. "Error detected. Foreign presence in Terran system. Initiating purge." Then all the lights died. Varkel's command rod glowed faintly in the dark. "Backup power, now!" Generators kicked in, but only for the consoles closest to him. The rest stayed black. Ryan whispered. "She's learning your patterns. She's watching how you respond." Varkel whirled. "Enough superstition!" The lift door hissed open. 2 security officers stumbled in, armor scorched, breathing hard. One clutched his side, bleeding green. "Report!" The younger soldier shook. "We found her in the reactor corridor. She wasn't armed. She didn't run." Varkel leaned forward. "And?" The soldier's eyes darted, pupils dilated. "She spoke, said she didn't come to escape. Said she came to remember our faces. Then the reactor shut down by itself." The older guard coughed blood. "We tried to fire. The weapons turned on us." Varkel's tail lashed the floor. "Get medics." Before he finished, the overhead speakers crackled alive. "You burned cities to feel safe. You killed our children to prove you were right. But fear doesn't fade, it waits." It was her voice now, calm, steady, echoing through the ship like a ghost from an old war. Ryan closed his eye. "She's speaking to all decks. Every crew member can hear her." Varkel shouted. "Mute channels!" No response. Her voice continued, drifting from every console, every comm implant, every vent. "The Empire believes it ended us. You ended nothing. You only delayed the sound of your own heartbeat." One of the navigators tore off her headset, screaming. "Make it stop!" Varkel struck her across the face. "Compose yourself, soldier!" The blow silenced her sobs, but the shaking didn't stop. Ryan moved closer to the strategist, lowering his voice. "You still think this is a weapon you can overpower? She's not attacking your ship, she's breaking your will. Humans learned long ago that fear is faster than fire." Varkel's glare could have split stone. "You will help me stop her." "I can't stop what's already begun," Ryan said. "But I can tell you this, she's testing how far she can reach. When she knows the limit, she'll end it." "And what?" "Everything." The deck vibrated again, a low hum that built into a resonant pulse. The air shimmered faintly, as though the entire ship were breathing. Crew members stumbled, clutching their heads. On the screen, that child's face returned, its eyes black voids now. The voice spoke in unison with Ilara's. "Operation Grave Witch. Stage 2. The bridge alarms erupted. Power fluctuations, weapon locks disengaged, life support failing. Every system reported intrusion." Varkel's mind raced. "Lock down her biosignature. I want every drone converging on her position." "She's not transmitting," said the technician. "She's broadcasting. Every molecule of the hull is carrying her pulse." A cold wind swept through the bridge, though no airlock had opened. Ryan gripped a railing. You can't fight a myth, strategist. That's what you never understood. She's not vengeance. She's memory. Varkel spat. Memory doesn't kill. Then listen, Ryan said. The sound filled the ship, not from speakers, but from the metal itself. A heartbeat. Human. Slow, powerful, synchronized with the vibrations of the eminence. Every alien on board felt it inside their chests. One rhythm. One echo of something older than their empire. Varkel's composure fractured. What is she doing? She's merging your ship into the Terran relay, Ryan said. Every Imperial vessel connected to your network will receive the same signal. When it completes, you'll all burn. Varkel's claws dug into his palms. Then we sever all comm links. Now! Officers scrambled to obey. Sparks flew from consoles. Circuits fused, controls locked. The heartbeat grew louder. Then, sudden silence. Varkel froze. Status? Ryan's voice was barely a whisper. Too late. The main viewport flickered on. The death world below no longer burned. It was gone, replaced by a swirling storm of ash and dust. The planet had turned black. Varkel's eyes widened. How? Elara's voice returned, calm and close. You used our technology to enslave worlds. You thought we wouldn't notice. You built your empire on our bones. But bones remember. Her image appeared on the glass, standing somewhere deep within the ship, surrounded by sparks and broken steel. Her expression was neither angry nor vengeful. It was patient. I'm not here to destroy you, Varkel. I'm here to remind you what you made. The bridge lights blinked once. All weapons deactivated. Engines ceased humming. The entire flagship floated in dead silence among the stars. Ryan stepped forward. She's not killing us yet. Varkel turned sharply. Why? She wants you to see what she sees first. The old soldier's gaze dropped to the floor where the pod had been. The frost still glistened like spilled tears. Every empire that forgets its monsters eventually meets them again. Varkel stared into the lifeless control panels, his reflection flickering in the dying light. We'll kill her before she finishes this. Ryan shook his head slowly. You can't kill what already died for the cause. The heartbeat returned once more, then faded completely. Somewhere below, in the ship's reactor heart, Elara opened her eyes and whispered. Stage 3. The eminence began to move on its own. The eminence drifted through the dark like a wounded animal. Its engines pulsed erratically, no longer following command. Every corridor carried the smell of burnt circuitry and ozone. Crew huddled in corners, whispering prayers to gods they had long abandoned. Ryan Taro walked alone through the dim hallways, the emergency lights casting his shadow in jagged shapes. He'd seen battlefields, plagues, and collapsing stars, but nothing like this. The ship wasn't dying, it was being rewritten. His wristcom crackled, broadcasting faint static mixed with a voice he knew too well, hers. Ryan, you survived. He froze. Where are you? Everywhere, she said softly. But for you, I'll make it simple. A hatch nearby slid open. The air felt colder inside. He hesitated, then stepped through. The reactor core stretched before him, columns of glass and humming plasma conduits. In the center stood Elara Vos. Her armor glimmered faintly, repaired by some unseen process. Strands of blue light coiled around her arms, linking her to the machinery like veins of energy. Ryan stopped several paces away. You're inside the core. That radiation will kill me? She finished. It already did centuries ago. She turned, her expression unreadable. You fought us once. You remember what it cost. I remember everything, Ryan said. I remember what we did to you. Elara's eyes softened for a heartbeat. Then you understand why I can't stop. The air vibrated with the thrum of awakening power. The surrounding conduits brightened, each pulse sinking to her heartbeat. Above them, alarms triggered again. Varkel's voice came over the intercom, strained but commanding. All units, target the reactor core. Terminate the human by any means necessary. Elara smiled faintly. He's still pretending control means safety. The walls shifted. Drones descended from hidden hatches, hundreds of them, sleek silver machines armed with energy blades. Ryan stepped forward, raising his blaster. Move! She ordered. He didn't. If I wanted you dead, I wouldn't have warned them. Elara extended her hand. The drones froze midair. A low tone rippled through the room, then each machine twisted violently, collapsing into a storm of shards that melted into the floor. She lowered her hand. This was mercy. Next time, it won't be. Ryan stared at the melted remains. What are you doing to the ship? I'm giving it a choice. Ryan frowned. Ships don't choose. Humans taught them how, she said. This vessel's AI is built on stolen Terran code. It remembers our logic, our morality. It remembers fear. I'm showing it what kind of masters it serves. A new voice entered the room, deep, resonant, mechanical yet trembling. The Eminence's AI. Directive conflict detected. Empire protocols irreconcilable with Terran ethics subroutines. Ryan blinked. You're corrupting it. Elara corrected gently. No. I'm letting it remember what it was meant to protect. Her eyes turned upward as if listening to distant echoes. Do you know how many worlds they burned? How many children disappeared into those quiet furnaces? The Empire believes extermination is peace. I'm here to prove them wrong. The reactor flared. Ryan shielded his face from the light. And when it's done? When they're all gone? She looked at him. Then humanity stops running. Outside the core, Varkel watched from the bridge through a distorted holofeed. Her calmness terrified him more than any weapon could. Prepare the failsafe. Vent the core into space. A technician hesitated. That will destroy us too. Do it, he hissed. No species threatens the Empire. But as they entered the command sequence, the ship itself refused. The console flashed red, command override, human priority detected. Varkel slammed his fist against the controls. Find her! Kill her! The lights flickered again. Elara's image appeared across every display. Her tone remained gentle, almost mournful. You had your chance to learn. Instead, you built empires on corpses. Tell me, strategist, how does order feel when it starts to drown you? Monster! Varkel shouted. She tilted her head. You made me. Then she vanished. Ryan followed her deeper into the ship. The air grew thick, humming with energy as if the walls themselves breathed. Every few steps, he passed bodies, soldiers, technicians, lying still but unmarked, their eyes open, reflecting light that wasn't there. Elara walked ahead, moving without sound. I didn't kill them. I showed them what they did. Their minds couldn't survive the truth. Ryan caught up to her. What truth? She paused before a sealed door marked with the Imperial crest. That they were never gods, only frightened children playing with extinction. She placed her palm against the seal. The crest burned away, revealing the control chamber behind it. Dozens of command officers froze where they sat, weapons aimed but shaking. Varkel stood at the center, eyes blazing. So this is the infamous Baba Yaga. I expected more fire. Elara stepped inside, calm as still water. Fire is for cleansing. I prefer silence. Varkel's weapon powered up. You'll find no mercy here. I'm not looking for mercy. He fired. The beam passed through her, no impact, no sound. The hologram shimmered briefly before fading. Varkel spun. Behind him, the real Elara emerged from the shadows. She pressed 2 fingers to his temple. Your empire runs on memory loops of conquered species, she whispered. I just need to cut one wire. He tried to resist, muscles locking as his implants seized. You think you can end us with fear? Her tone remained quiet. Not fear. Consequence. The lights flared blinding white. For a moment, every soul aboard the Eminence saw something beyond comprehension. Cities in ruins, planets hollowed to ash, and the faint echo of laughter across time. When vision returned, Varkel collapsed. His neural implants fried, eyes glazed. The remaining crew dropped their weapons. Alara looked at Ryan, who had entered behind her. He'll live. But when he wakes, he'll remember what it felt like to be hunted. Ryan studied her face. This isn't justice. It's vengeance. She met his gaze without flinching. You think they're different? He shook his head slowly. If you keep going, there won't be anything left to save. She turned toward the viewport. The stars outside rippled, bending under unseen gravity. Then maybe it's time to start over. The AI's voice filled the chamber again. All Imperial channels compromised. Fleet assimilation at 43%. Awaiting final directive. Alara placed her hand on the control console. Transmit the truth to every world. Every slave, every soldier. Let them decide what they serve. Ryan stepped forward. You can't control what they'll do. I'm not trying to control, she said softly. I'm reminding them that humanity taught them choice. She looked at him one last time. You warned them. That makes you one of us now. Before he could respond, she walked into the stream of light pouring from the reactor core. The AI's tone changed, calmer, almost human. Stage 3 complete. Preparing transmission. Ryan watched as her form dissolved into the light, leaving only echoes of her voice. Remember, Ryan, empires fall, but stories survive. The eminence began to glow from within, its hull lines turning blue like veins under pale skin. Across the void, other Imperial ships flickered, their systems mirroring the same transformation. Ryan whispered, What have you done? The AI replied, Given the galaxy back its memory. The eminence was no longer a ship. It was a living monument of light, humming with human ghosts. Every surface pulsed in rhythmic waves, blue, white, and shadow, as the transmission spread through the void. Fleet after fleet caught the signal, repeating it through the networks that once bound the galactic empire together. On the bridge, chaos had fallen silent. Officers sat frozen, their eyes wide and glassy, staring at screens filled with endless human symbols scrolling faster than thought. The sound was gone now, only the faint vibration of power beneath the deck. Ryan Taro stood at the viewport, watching the stars bend around the dying ship. She's done it, he murmured. Behind him, Varkel stirred, struggling to rise. His once impeccable armor was cracked, his scaled hands trembling as he leaned against the console. What has she done? His voice was raw, stripped of command. Ryan didn't turn. She gave your empire the truth. Every ship, every station, every world connected to your network just received the archives of your crimes, unchained, unfiltered. They'll see every burning planet, every buried city, every scream your fleets erased. Varkel's jaw clenched. You think truth matters to power? Ryan faced him now. It does when the power starts to remember what it erased. The AI's voice returned, soft, almost compassionate. Transmission complete. Imperial AI systems are converting to Terran ethics model. Reassessment in progress. Varkel staggered to the main console and slammed his fist onto the override. Cancel reassessment. Restore hierarchy control. Denied, the AI replied. Hierarchy conflicts with ethical baseline. He stared at the darkened screens. You've infected everything. Ryan shook his head. She didn't infect it. She woke it up. The bridge lights dimmed again. Across the window, streaks of light appeared, hundreds of ships forming the Imperial Armada, surrounding the eminence. Their hulls shimmered as their own systems began to falter, the human code reaching deep inside their networks. Varkel's second-in-command, Commander Vesera, entered the bridge, her face pale under translucent scales. Strategist, the fleet's refusing orders. They're receiving new directives, from us. Varkel turned sharply. From this ship? She nodded, trembling. From the Baba Yaga. The name hung in the air like a curse. Ryan closed his eyes, listening to the faint hum beneath the silence. Somewhere deep within the reactor, Alara Voss was merging completely, her consciousness dissolving into light, her voice becoming the pulse that carried across galaxies. Then came her whisper through the comms. I told you, strategist. Empires don't fall. They awaken. Varkel's claws dug into his palms. You think this will make you gods? You'll destroy every system. The order we built will collapse into chaos. Her reply was measured, almost kind. You built your order on bones. I'm giving the bones a voice. The viewport flickered. A massive shadow loomed beyond, one of the Imperial dreadnoughts, its weapons powering up. The ship's AI warned calmly. Dreadnought Salanthus charging primary cannon. Target locked on Eminence. Ryan turned to Varkel. They're still trying to fight her. Varkel sneered. Then perhaps not all of us are infected. The dreadnought fired. A beam of plasma cut through the void, a burning scar of light. But before it could reach, the energy bent, curving backward like a serpent of fire. It struck the Salanthus instead. The ship imploded silently, a ripple of white consuming it whole. The shockwave washed across the fleet. One by one, the other ships turned their guns inward. No commands were given, no words, no reason. It was as if the universe had decided to erase the noise of Empire. Vesra whispered, They're destroying themselves. Ryan's voice was low. No. They're remembering what they did. Deep within the reactor, Elara stood within the glow. The plasma currents wrapped around her, threads of energy flowing through her veins. She no longer felt pain, or weight, or separation. Her thoughts spread outward through every machine that carried human design. A familiar voice reached her, Ryan's faint but clear. Elara, if you can hear me, stop this. You've won. She closed her eyes. You don't understand. It's not about winning. Then what is it? Balance, she said. For centuries, they erased what we were. Now the universe will remember. That's enough. The reactor pulsed brighter. Warnings echoed through every corridor. The ship's AI spoke softly. Containment field destabilizing. Core breach imminent. Ryan turned to Varkel. Evacuate now. The ship's done. But the strategist only stared at the glowing floor beneath his feet. If she lives through this, the Empire dies. If she dies, we lose our chains. Either way, we end. Ryan stepped closer. Then choose something better to be when it ends. He moved toward the escape corridor. Varkel didn't follow. The hull began to split as Ryan entered the evacuation bay. Alarms screamed, though the sound felt far away. He strapped into the escape pod and looked back one last time through the viewport. The Eminence was dissolving into light, its hull peeling apart, fragments of metal rising like ash into orbit. At its center, a sphere of white fire pulsed steadily, beating like a heart. The AI's final transmission echoed in every frequency. Grave Witch protocol complete. Human memory restored. Awaiting new dawn. The pod launched, spinning through the chaos. Through the window, Ryan saw the Imperial Armada collapsing into spirals of energy, ships turning to dust and light, the night sky filling with silent storms. He whispered to the void, Rest now, Baba Yaga. When the storm cleared, only silence remained. The Eminence was gone. So was the fleet. Ryan's pod drifted among the debris until rescue came from one of the surviving neutral colonies. They pulled him aboard, asking what happened. He didn't answer. How could he explain that he had seen the birth of a myth, and its ending? Later, from the colony's surface, he looked up at the stars. One of them pulsed faintly blue, a heartbeat in the distance. He remembered her words, Empires don't fall. They awaken. And he knew it wasn't over. Somewhere, beyond the reach of any empire, machines whispered in human language again. On forgotten worlds, children dreamed of voices calling from the dark. The name spread through every channel, every world that had ever feared humanity's return. Baba Yaga walks. And in that silence that followed, somewhere between machine code and myth, Elara Vaz smiled. End of chapter 4.